welcome back. We will discuss what is happening in DeFi, what's going on. We will explore together why DeFi is a paradigm shift in the financial industry as we know it today. All right, guys, and welcome back to On-DeFi. And today we have a very special guest. And thank you very much, Anton Bukov, to come on the channel today. And Anton Bukov is from the 1inch team. And as you know, when you did my DeFi course, DeFi 101, DeFi 201, or saw any of my other videos, I'm a really big fan of 1inch. I really like their protocol. I've been using them for a long time. And and besides 1inch, you're doing so much things, Anton. Maybe you can explain a little bit yourself. What are you doing, and what brought you to this amazing space?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Anton. Yeah, I'm from 1inch. So what 1inch is? It's a project which is a DEX aggregator, and it united all the layer 1 liquidity into a single huge DEX. Every DEX have its own issues with liquidity. You know, the more liquidity you have on the DEX, the better prices you have, and it's like chicken egg problem. The more users you have, the more liquidity you have. And if you don't have users, you don't have liquidity, you don't have good prices. But what we did, we united all the liquidity from all the layer 1 DEXs into a single huge DEX, and sometimes prices are even better than on centralized exchanges, even on the hugest one, especially at the latest month when layer 1 liquidity just exploded.
It's amazing. I must say, like, when I discovered 1inch, my flow from being basically doing a lot with like centralized exchange, finding the best price, flow more and more towards decentralized exchanges. Like, and 1inch was definitely the biggest enabler for that.
Yeah. Initially we were had pretty simple algorithms of just splitting among different DEXs, and now it's changed a lot. Currently we are building more complex roads. We call them multi-paths because it's about splitting among different paths and then uniting into the destination token. And this could also get liquidity from all the market, you know, and some different pairs. For example, when you buy Ether for DAI or sell Ether for DAI, we can also touch liquidity on USDC and USDT pair, and then merge result to DAI with stable token protocols like specific stable token AMMs like Curve, Swerve, or any other.
It's amazing. And you also told me that you're working on a new algorithm. So can you maybe tell a little bit about the evolution, right? And how you came to the idea. So you saw Uniswap and you saw Kyber and different networks, and you probably were yourself switching between them, finding the best price, and you were like, okay, I want to build an algorithm for this. Or how did you came to the idea for building 1inch?
Yeah, you know, when we started building 1inch, it was on the hackathon. It was ETH New York in the May of the previous year. Before the hackathon, I had this issue several times. When I had to sell a few $100 of some token, I checked prices on Uniswap, Kyber, and Banker. You know, liquidity 1 year ago was almost equal on these DEXs, but price was a little bit different. It was like fluctuating for a few persons, and even selling $500 of some token can give you additional 10 or 15 bucks if you will just select the proper DEX at the proper time. And very first version of what we built in a few hours on hackathon was just showing the prices from all these DEXs and allowing you to interact with one of them. And right on the hackathon, we came up to idea that we could improve price and give user price even better than on each individual DEX. It could be achieved by splitting your volume among DEXs. Imagine the more volume you swap on the DEX, the worse is the rate, exchange rate. So if you will split your volume, you will have better rates on each exchange. And that was the core idea. And for the first few months, possibly first half year, the algorithm was pretty easy. It was just distribution among several sources. You know, we had like 5 to 6 sources. It was like depending on the trading pair. Some pairs have up to 10 sources. Some pairs were working with 5 sources. So it was pretty easy. Some our competitors even used brute force to find best distribution. It's also possible. It was also possible, but things changed a lot since that time, and simple splitting common resources do not work well, because you could only imagine that a lot of new AMMs appeared, like Balancer, Uniswap version 2, Curve, Swerve, M-Stable, a lot of them. And for example, each separate pool on Balancer is a separate DEX. So right now, if you are swapping just Ether to DAI, you have to consider not 10 or 20 sources. You have to consider a few hundreds of different pools to check all the prices. And if you will just split among several resources, it will give you some better price than you currently have on different DEXs, but it's not the best rate you could achieve. You could achieve even better rates if you would build more complex paths, multi-paths. You will find few roads and distribute among them to achieve even lower slippage.
That is very interesting, and that is constantly evolving, right? So you're basically constantly improving these protocols more and more. And you said something about Pathfinder, right? So
yeah, I can add that recently, yesterday, we released our new version of Pathfinder without any public notification. Right now, it is working with our new algorithm. It works really fast and gives much better results than the previous version. And we are also gonna update our user interface. Our new version, I believe it will go live in possibly 1 or 2 weeks, maybe faster. We're working on it, like work in progress. Yeah. But we're happy that we released our algorithm, because it can like lower slippage few times on huge volumes. For example, if you will compare it with other aggregators right now on some volumes like 100,000 of bucks or millions of bucks, you will have a few times lower slippage. It could be 2 to 3 times lower. But this also depends on the market pair, because if we could get some liquidity from the stables of this pair, like if you are swapping to DAI, we're also touching liquidity of USDC and USDT and PAX and everything what is available. Yeah.
Interesting. So Pathfinder is basically a side project from 1inch then, right?
It's like currently it's one of the sources in 1inch, but our new version will work like it will have enhanced support of this Pathfinder, and will also show you the exact path your funds will follow. It will be really interesting to see this kind of charts, how exactly your funds are transforming over all these DEXs and protocols.
Super cool. And it actually, yes, it's really, really cool. And I also see 1inch as a aggregator that basically rewards the most efficient protocols with the most liquidity. So if there's a protocol that has the most liquidity, or if maybe if we have different AMMs, then you basically automatically search for the cheapest one and then rebalance the ones that are unbalanced as well, in like finding the best bets, right?
Yeah, I'd say that 1inch gives every protocol its fair volume. So if we will compare a few AMMs that gets volume from 1inch, if some AMM gets 2 times more volume, this means it provides 2 times like better liquidity, better prices, because 1inch do not prioritize any source. You know, we released own AMM, Mooniswap, which like solves some existing problems of DeFi, of DEXs, and we do not have any prioritization on 1inch side. 1inch integrated all the liquidity sources from layer 1, and it optimizes trades for the exchange rate for the users. It have no any other prioritization, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool, really cool. Yeah, and I'm looking now at some statistics, and for everybody that's watching, I link below. You made a very cool June analytics dashboard where you can basically see the explosive growth of the protocol, where we now have a total volume of more than $4 billion. It's more than $4 billion traded in the last 24 hours. We have a almost $25 million volume. I will quickly share it. Yeah, you can see my screen now, Anton.
Yeah, I see.
The June analytics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we were like one of the first companies who built own dashboard on June Analytics, because we somehow found this product and checked what we can build with it, and you know, I built possibly most part of this page within 1 or 2 days. I am pretty familiar with SQL. It's a query language for databases, and I spent from 1 to 2 days to build most of these charts, and it was like super simple way for us to have fully transparent on-chain analytics.
Yeah, basically hooks into all the different basically grabs all the on-chain data as far as I can see, and it displays it here in the dashboard. And I would recommend everybody to go here as well. I wonder, is it all on-chain data, or is it also data from the GUI of the website itself?
Which website you mean?
Yeah, I mean the 1inch, of course. So 1inch, this is a it's a decentralized protocol. You deploy it, and right now it just gathers all the on-chain data as far as I can see.
Yeah. 1inch have own smart contract, and this data was computed directly from this smart contract, for sure. And recently we also made our new version of smart contract. It was dramatically changed, and we also started using it, but we're using it behind our old smart contract. But since we will finish audits, we have few finished, but we wish to have at least 4 security audits. We will use our new smart contract directly, and our gas footprint will be much lower. It was already lowered a lot, but once we will use a new smart contract directly, or after all the audits finished, we will have even better gas footprint.
Nice. And as a developer, or as like a company, yeah, let's say a crypto hedge fund, you can also always, of course, just interact directly with the smart contracts, or you can choose to interact with the GUI itself, right?
Yeah, you know, we have a separate sub project which called previously one split, one proto, and the new version is one router. We call it 1inch protocol. You can find it on GitHub. It's called 1inch protocol. It's a fully on-chain version of 1inch. but it's not as powerful as Pathfinder, for example. For sure, this couldn't be achieved on fully on-chain manner on smart contract, because we're building all these complex paths off-chain for sure. But one router, our like next version of this fully on-chain protocol, is really powerful. Some of our partners use it on their front ends because they don't want to depend on any API from any server, because servers may be banned on some countries. The servers can be turned off somehow, but when they interact with smart contract, they are sure it works every time.
That is great.
Yeah, so we have three different things. We have fully on-chain version of 1inch called one split, one pro to one router. It's like 3 second versions. We have API, 1inch API for those who wanna integrate, and 1inch UI for sure, which we're gonna update really soon.
Yeah, so to make it a little bit user friendly, right? So for me, I really like the interface, to be honest. For me, it's really cool. I really think it's handy, but to make it, but in the beginning, yes, I had to learn a little bit. So when I think I got used to the current interface, but I think, yeah, for maybe new people, it would be a bit complicated. So yeah, you're making an easier interface. Are you making like a easy interface and a pro interface, or right now just one interface?
I'd say it will be a little bit simpler, but it will still have all these powerful features, because we believe people use them and love them, because for example, people wish to see the table with all the dexes, with all the prices, because sometimes they just want to check prices on some dexes. And for example, we are gonna improve our slippage chart, because it shows that price gets worse with your volume, and you can swap less to get a better exchange rate. So
that is very interesting. So can you maybe explain to me? You said something interesting there. So if I want to use 1inch, I can use the API, right? But you said when you use the GUI, you have the Pathfinder function. So does it mean when I use the API, I don't have the Pathfinder function?
I'd say our current version of API will be possibly today updated to Pathfinder. So new version of Pathfinder is actually our new version of API. Yeah, and our new version of user interface will have like enhanced support of this Pathfinder, and all other sources will only show the results, but they will not be needed. You know, it's like for historical reasons, our front end is getting all the information from all the dexes on his own. And initial distribution, like distribution to get the best rate, was happening on the front end. So it was a little bit slow because of this, because it was like fully decentralized. And we had some interesting fact that once we were under DDoS attack, and our new users were not able to open 1inch website. It was not working for 8 hours while we were sleeping. Yeah. And but all the old users who tried to open 1inch, they opened it successfully, because we have a special web application which caches in browser. And when you open it, it opens again from cache. But if then it checks if there is a new version of web front end, and if you will, for example, open 1inch and see that page is reloaded, this means that new version was downloaded. So during 8 hours DDoS attack, 1inch front end was available for those who opened it before, because it was cached in browser, and it was fully working because front end is and was self-sustainable.
Yeah,
but
so you don't really need the front end, right?
Dexes.
Yeah. Huh? No, continue.
Repeat, please.
You don't really need the front end, right? But or do we?
Yeah, you know, front end was fully sustainable, self-sustainable. but it was pretty slow. It was like it requires few seconds to wait, and we wish to improve this for the users, because users more care about speed of the user interface than of decentralization and self-sustainability. Most users would prefer to have prices under under 1 second than have a fully sustainable interface which queries all the DEXs, because if you have slow computer or slow mobile device, it also will hang your device, you know. It's not comfortable for the users. So we decided to go with a new Pathfinder approach, when everything works over our own server. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. But basically, the only way so there is a centralized server that's hosted by the 1inch company. But if you want to use a protocol, you can just use protocol via API. But if you want to use the GUI and the front end, this is hosted by the 1inch company itself, that basically offers the technology for people themselves to swap assets between each other. And how do you right now? How do you monetize the protocol? How do you pay for the servers, or pay your salary, or how is that? How do you achieve that?
Yeah. I have to shortly add about previous question.
Yeah.
What was it? Sorry.
So the GUI, right? So that you have a server, GUI, and the protocol.
But I forgot what I had to add about user interface. About a server. Yeah, since we have own server for creating such kind of transactions, which have like a super complex path aggregated and everything like this, we have a way to validate this transaction, that it makes only this swap and only of this asset and everything like this. Since we have audited smart contract, there are some guarantees that if you call the exact method and you provide these arguments in this order and they are like correct, this means your transaction will perform what you expect. Else, if price will get worse, your transaction will be reverted. So our users, integrators who integrate 1inch, they are for sure protected, that if our server will be hacked, no one will be able to hack them by producing like wrong transactions, scam transactions. So everyone who integrate 1inch API should integrate these verifications of the transactions which they get from 1inch API for sure. And this is like safe for integrators. Yeah, regarding the monetization, we are getting paid by some sources. Some of our sources get fees, and they share part of these fees for the volumes. You mean if some DEX get 0.3%, we're talking with them, and possibly we could get 0.1% from them. So it was like our monetization from the first day, and we don't want to add any additional on top fees which could decrease prices, because we will not be so competitive because of like if you will charge some fees on top, you will make price worse and it makes no sense, because you as aggregator wish to offer the best prices. But some of integrators who wish to integrate aggregators into wallets, into dApps, they can set their own fee on top, because if they always ask like aggregators, we are gonna use you, we have to set 0.1 fee on top, and we're okay with that. So every as far as I know, every aggregator supports this kind of actions for integrators. Yeah.
That is, so it's basically on-chain referral programs. Is that correct? So you have a protocol, and if I refer to you as a protocol, you get a part of the fee. It's the same thing, and we will touch on that, or maybe it's a good segue with Mooniswap. So I'm not sure if Uniswap doesn't have a referral program. Mooniswap does have a referral program, right?
Yeah, it have. Its referral program is pretty smart. You can give your referral link to someone, and when it will swap on Mooniswap, you will earn part of the liquidity provider's earnings, not part of the. I mean, this referral fee will not make the price worse for the users who swap. So they will get exactly the same price as without any referral, but referrals gets part of liquidity providers' earnings.
Yeah, that is.
I'm not really remember. It's near to 20% of liquidity providers' earnings. So if you will earn 20% of this, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. So that's maybe a good segue into like the Mooniswap. So 1inch, you're a company, you have investments, and you're basically building technology. You're building technology for the betterment of the ecosystem, for the Ethereum, at the moment, the Ethereum ecosystem, but of course, yeah, we'll touch on layer 2 in a bit, well, maybe also other integrators or other protocols that want to use it. You're just a software company and you build technology. That's it, right?
Are there any options to answer?
Yes.
Yeah, we're a company who builds software. We're building products when we see the opportunity on the market to build them. When we like came up to something cool, some cool ideas, because we don't like copy something. Some people think that Mooniswap copied Uniswap, but it was not like this. We forked their user interface for sure, because it was like fork ready. Their license, they published this source code of front end with open source license, allowing anyone to fork it and modify it and also publish on the open source. That's correct, and we appreciate that Uniswap team did such a cool job by creating this UI and open sourcing it, because this allows really to bootstrap AMM development. You can develop AMM and don't really care about creating special user interface. You can just fork Uniswap, and that's great. We're really thankful for them for this, because it would not be possible to launch Mooniswap so fast if we had to develop own front end for it, because for sure we can avoid any front end by just integrating it into 1inch, but it's like a separate project, and we wish this project to have separate interface, separate statistics website. Yeah, and for sure it is integrated into 1inch as any other AMM or DEX on layer 1. Yeah,
I think like Mooniswap, what you created is a very good example of actually improving something by forking it, right? So we saw, of course, SushiSwap and et cetera, et cetera. I was a little bit like, you know, what SushiSwap did, you could basically do within like a couple of days. It's very easy what they did. But Mooniswap, when I look into it, you actually improve the protocol itself. So as far as I understand, in Mooniswap, there is an improved AMM algorithm that you invented, basically getting fees for slippage and getting transaction fees, right? Maybe you can tell a bit more about them.
Yeah, I can describe how exactly this happened, that we came up to exactly this idea. And it's a really interesting story, because Vitalik Buterin also proposed similar idea and similar approach, but for a different issue. So we came up that arbitrage traders earn a lot on Uniswap. We did some measurements and computed that on the most pools, arbitrage traders earn the same amount of money as liquidity providers, but on some pools which were like highly volatile pools with new tokens which are very volatile, arbitrage traders earn much more than liquidity providers. Sometimes it's like 5 to 7 times more, and we were like shocked a bit, and we decided that arbitrage traders should not earn so much money. It would be great if our liquidity providers would earn it. And how exactly arbitrage traders earn on Uniswap? If you will have a huge swap on Uniswap pool, and you will have like some slippage equals to 5%, for example, this means that it will create instant opportunity for arbitrage trader to swap back exact amount and get this 5% profit. So if you swapped $100 and lost 5K, the fastest arbitrage trader will be able to capture this 5K in the same block. And it's not much work for them. There is like a huge competition among them, but the fastest will get this huge stake. It's not good. So we decided, do not improve prices on Mooniswap after huge swaps. If you will have huge high sleepy swap on Mooniswap, opposite price will not be improved immediately. It will be improved gradually over the time during some decay period, which we selected like 5 minutes. And when arbitrage traders see that price of, if you sold some token, they see that price of buying this token is getting improved every block, every second. And at some point in time, they see that they could earn like $5 and transaction would cost $4. So it is $1 profitable, and they can wait until profit will grow, but they can't wait because there is a competition among them. They can't talk to each other and say, let's wait and earn more, because if you will not earn this $1, someone else will earn it. And so idea was pretty simple. Do not improve prices immediately, and store virtual balances to achieve like different prices in different directions. But if you would wait for decay period and make swaps once 5 minutes, it will behave exactly as Uniswap formula. But we were also wondering that Uniswap formula was proposed in 2017 by Alon Lu from Gnosis. And we also found a balancer formula in this article. It was pretty cool that all these things were here for many years before they were implemented. For example, balancer was implemented only in February of this year, but it was his formula was on the paper 3 years ago. That's amazing. And when we came up to virtual balances, to achieving different prices in time, I was also like, I heard something of virtual balances somewhere, and we found article of Vitalik Buterin where he proposed a very similar approach. He told, let's have virtual balances until end of the current block, and this would help us to prevent front-running attack. What's front-running attack? When you swap some amount of tokens to another on AMM, someone can swap before you and right after you, and you will get worse price, and this person would earn on you. So he will be able to buy on low price and sell after you on high price and earn on you. That's front-running. When someone see your transaction in mining pool, he can front-run you. And Vitalik Buterin was wrote an article about this, how to prevent front running on AMMs, and he proposed, let's have like virtual balances and reset them at the start of the next block. So this would not allow you to front run in the same block. And then he also said that if this is like different blockchain or front runners are not so good, possibly this should last for more than one block, and the prices could be changed gradually. And this is like mostly the same as what we came up to. That's pretty interesting that we came to exact the same behavior, but we were trying to solve different issue. So while we were trying to get arbitrage profits to liquidity providers, we got front-running protection for free because Vitaly Buterin was talking about this. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And I think what you said, that so the for everybody that's listening, I will link the papers below in the description for the Gnosis paper and a paper by Vitalik. And basically with you improved on with the knowledge you had and the research you did, you saw a direct improvement with waiting in the block, and that also improved the front running attack. It's quite interesting. Is it also correct that you're now building on the Mooniswap exchange, and that you're implementing so the Mooniswap exchange has wait one second. I will cut this. Some people walked in. Sorry. Okay. So with the Mooniswap exchange, right? I see that the volume also is picking up quite nicely. It's still it is a little bit in decline. So it bumped up and then it's now declining a little bit. Why do you think that is at the moment?
So we see Mooniswap works really well for the pairs which are like volatile. The more volatile is pair, the more chance it would earn a lot for liquidity providers on Mooniswap. And we see volume also changes time to time, day to day. We saw recently someone added a lot of liquidity to Wi-Fi ETH pair. Yes. And we are monitoring it, and we see that with fixed fee 0.15 percent, liquidity providers really earn nearly to 1%, 0.5%, 1.5%. So it depends. We just check the fees amount to volume amount, and we see these great numbers. So I have to say that I think Mooniswap is really good for highly volatile pairs. And we also see that, for example, Uniswap have a great number of users. They have 40 times more users than any other DeFi project. Even aggregators, even old DEXs who are there for 3 and more years, like Kyber and many others. And we see that Uniswap gets more volume than its liquidity deserves. I mean, 1inch distributes volumes among different DEXs in a fair way. The more liquidity you have, the better prices you offer, the more volume you will have, and it's like proportional and we call it fair. Yes. But we see a lot of people swap on Uniswap directly, and this is some kind of unfair volume because these people could get much better rates if they would use aggregators, but they still use Uniswap because possibly they are not aware of any aggregators of any DEXs or other DEXs than Uniswap. We believe these things will change in time because market always targets to its efficiency. Yes. And this, for us, this means these people will discover all the opportunities on the market. They will see other DEXs, other DEX aggregators. They will use wallets for this, and wallets will use aggregators. And since it's inefficient for them, and markets is targeted and aiming to efficiency, this will be changed in time. So if we would compute, we see that Uniswap had like 10 times more volume than it deserves according to its liquidity. And because of this, it's really hard to compare Mooniswap pools with Uniswap pools directly because they have such a huge volumes. We can't afford this. We can't get these users to swap on Mooniswap for sure. So Mooniswap right now is getting mostly fair volume from 1inch. Yeah. And if we would compute, we did this after first month of Mooniswap. We compared profits of liquidity providers and did normalization by volumes and by liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
When we normalized, we saw that Mooniswap liquidity providers earn much more. It like 5 to 7 times improvement. But since market is not like normalized and Uniswap volumes are much greater according to its liquidity, so Uniswap is more preferred for most coins possibly. But it also depends, because some highly volatile pairs is like works really good on Mooniswap, like ETH Wi-Fi and some other. So I see that some liquidity providers discovered this and they moved some liquidity from Uniswap to Mooniswap. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it is true, and you're basically constant experimenting. So you first had a 0.3% fee, then you lowered that to 0%, and then you put it back to 0.15%, right?
Yeah, I can describe what exactly happened. Initially, when we worked on it, we were like ready to launch it without any fixed fees, because Uniswap can't afford to launch without fixed fee, because in that case liquidity providers will earn nothing.
Yeah.
They will have only impermanent loss, and that's it. But since Mooniswap can earn on slippages on some conditions, not on every trade, but on some conditions, fixed fee is not necessary. So then we changed our mind and started with the same fee as Uniswap to work as Uniswap. Then we tried to lower this fee to 0 to check how it would work. And we saw that on some pairs which have rare trades, like few trades per day, they will earn nothing because of our special formula, and they don't like it. But actually, if you have like few hundred thousands liquidity and have few hundred swaps a day, I'm not sure you should earn on this actually. But this happens on Uniswap. And yeah, we decided to return half of this fixed fee to, because, when we had like 0 fee, even on high liquid Uniswap pairs, Mooniswap gives better rates for amounts less than 0.3 of Uniswap volume, or 0.15. So if Uniswap have like 1 million of volume, if you are swapping less than 15K, it will be more profitable to do it on Mooniswap than on Uniswap because of this 0.3 fixed fee.
Yeah, for sure. So the fair value will over time be distributed ideally to Mooniswap. And let's hope. I saw the announcement from MetaMask that they will integrate Uniswap, OneInch, etc., and AirSwap, I believe, Kyber, and yeah, obviously with the new Pathfinder, OneInch will be the most efficient. So I think MetaMask will direct the user to the most efficient path and will then, for a fact, use Pathfinder. What do you think?
I'm here. My internet was down for a few seconds. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah, we'll call it. No, the question was like MetaMask is going to integrate the swap function, right? So MetaMask is going to integrate swap function, and there will be Uniswap and other aggregators will be integrated. But I think MetaMask will naturally evolve to the Pathfinder API, because I think that's the most efficient. So I think they will choose that. What are you already talking with MetaMask, or?
Yeah, we will replace our API with Pathfinder really soon. Right now we have Pathfinder like a separate option on UI. Yeah, that's great that MetaMask found this way of monetization of them, and they not just integrated one aggregator, but integrated a lot of them. But comparing the results of different aggregators is quite tricky,
Yeah.
It's hard to check how much exact gas will be spent on, for example, if a few aggregators will give you their transactions, it will be hard to determine how much gas it would actually cost for you, because even if you have these funds and can do the estimation, it's quite difficult to get real estimation of gas used, because if you would use Ethereum estimate gas function, it would give you gas limit, but this is not gas used. It's different. Gas limit is like the maximum gas spent amount you will achieve until end of the transaction. But since your transaction do some changes, some balances, do some records, erase some records, you will also get a gas refund. Some gas refund. It's not related to any gas token. It's just about erasing some storage. If something was written in storage, for example, you had some balance, but you spent it fully and your balance became 0, you will get 15K gas refund for this. And this will be only accounted at the end of the transaction. And your gas limit will be like few millions, but gas used will be possibly 500,000 less because of this, all these gas refunds accumulated during transaction. So since estimate gas function of nodes, Ethereum nodes do not support gas used, but it can do this. It could be achieved. Ethereum node can implement gas used, which returns also gas used, not gas limit, but also gas used. And I think this should be done to allow wallets to estimate transaction, because it's like this transaction requires you to have like this gas limit, but it's very likely it will cost you less, like this. It's very meaningful for transaction estimation for users, because we in 1inch sometimes increase gas limit at the end of when we create all the transaction. We just increase gas limit in case of if something went wrong inside, it may took more gas, and it's not possible to have exact estimation because blockchain state changes time to time or block to block, and you can estimate and we add few tens persons of gas additionally to allow transaction to be huge inside, but it will be reduced at the end because all these refunds. And if you would see this number in MetaMask, you will notice that it's huge, but actual gas used is much lower than gas limit. It could be like 60-70% of gas limit, even without any gas token spendings. Yeah, so I mean, that MetaMask integrated a lot of sources. So this is great, but comparing results of these sources is a bit tricky because, for example, 1inch Pathfinder API could give you a swap over just Uniswap or split among Uniswap and SushiSwap. It will be quite cheap, but it can also organize you a super huge monster path over tens of different dexes, and this would cost you $100 more because of gas. But you could get 100. Yeah, but you can get $150 more result, and it's better for you to spend $100 more for transaction to get $150 more result because it's profitable. But at the end, possibly we should allow people to decide on their own, give them few options to check from. If they wish to spend less gas but get this result, maybe they would prefer this way instead of spending $100 more on transaction and get $150 more result, possibly.
Or route via Honeyswap, but that's maybe not possible. But you know, what about layer 2 solutions, right? So we saw the creation of Honeyswap on XDAI, for example. I actually used it yesterday. It is it works quite well, but the only issue is, of course, it's a complete different network. But I think like XDAI, Scale, networks that are actually like layer 2s of Ethereum itself, or maybe potentially integratable in the future. What do you think?
Yeah, the common issue of all layer 2 solutions is that each of them have a chicken egg problem.
Yeah.
So they don't have, initially, they don't have users and don't have liquidity. They don't have enough liquidity to get enough users. So they can attract users with cool liquidity and cool prices, but they don't have it until they have users. So it's chicken egg problem. And layer 2 DEXs fight for the users each on their own. And it's hard to get the users and accumulate all of them in one place, because market is like huge and is different, as I would say. So I do not really believe that any layer 2 DEX, which works like a separate DEX in a separate layer 2, can beat all of the market, because what 1inch did is like before 1inch, every DEX was like fighting for its users, for its volumes. But right now, if you would release your own AMM, it would like be integrated on 1inch on day 0, possibly day 1, and it will get some volumes, like fair volume, which is like deserved by prices offered. And if you would build a layer 2 solution right now, you will have no users, no liquidity. You will have to attract them on your own, and it's really hard to achieve. And that's why I believe building layer 2 is very difficult. But I also heard of some solutions on which are layer 2 based, but they allow to deploy smart contracts on them. So just imagine layer 2, where different companies can deploy different projects. For example, DEXs, AMMs can deploy into single layer 2, and it will work exactly as Ethereum, but it's on layer 2. And it will be cheaper to have a settlement once per block or once per few minutes on layer 1.
Exactly.
It sounds too cool to be true. That's why it's like in early alphas right now. But I believe if this would appear until end of this year, this could get a lot of traction. I heard that Synthetics is launching on Optimism.
Yes.
But as far as I know, Optimism do not allow us to deploy new contracts. So they just deployed their own smart contracts and launched this layer 2 with these smart contracts. No one new smart contract could not be deployed there, as far as I heard about this. Yeah, but yeah, I'm waiting for the next thing where layer 2 solutions would allow to deploy arbitrary smart contracts, and this would work.
Yeah,
because this would also not require to build any bridges, because you can just deposit to smart contract, wait a bit, and we'll have this liquidity on layer 2.
That would be amazing. But XDAI is already kind of doing that, right? But you need to switch the network. It's a little bit more.
It's like side chain.
Yeah.
XDAI is side chain. Yeah, layer 2. I don't call side chains as layer 2. It's like layer 1, layer 0, but it's side chain. Yeah, I call layer 2 as a thing which is not a separate on-chain solution. It's like off-chain with signatures. Yeah, like this.
Rollup, Optimism. Yeah, and these things, my feeling, are a little bit far away. But I heard in your talk, or indeed in talks with Synthetics, when I see them, it seems more closer than maybe I think, or maybe there's a lot of development, I guess, there, right? Or
I believe, I hope
yes,
that we will see at least one of this solution until end of this year, in some kind of beta or possibly in production. But well, I'm not sure. I just hope we will have something which works at least in beta this year. This would work, because I believe a lot of different AMMs could be just forked, copied into this layer 2, and this would allow us to check how it works, because it should work exactly the same as Ethereum works, but it will be cheaper, and it will not have like additional risks of bridging, of something like this.
Very nice. Let's keep on touching that. Maybe if you have any interesting papers or research that you're reading now or looking into, please send me some links, and I will put them below. I would also love, and I think the channel would also love to learn more about some of the bleeding edge layer 2 scaling solutions.
We have to check Matter Labs blog.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I will link that. I will link that below, so everybody can read with that. Right. I want to go back for a bit to Mooniswap. So yeah, as we can see here, this is the Mooniswap analytical page, right? And yeah, the volume is going down as market is also a bit bearisher. Liquidity is it's stable. It's good. And here we see farming here, right? So what is going on here? Are you released a program where people can actually provide liquidity to the protocol, and they can farm some future 1inch tokens that will be used in the 1inch ecosystem for Mooniswap, 1inch, and potentially other protocols yet to come.
Yeah, as you said, we announced it like early farming program when you can participate, and we like announced it like exact percent which will be dedicated to all these early miners. We're also gonna post some updates to this program to change some proportions and a little bit tweak our formula to have like more weighted and more proportional liquidity to which like according to the current market state. Because for example, we are not sure that USDC market is meaningful, because there are some AMMs which are stable coin specific, and they can work much better for this case. So as you see, USDC and USDT market is like the hugest one, and it is not actually which is like used by aggregators a lot, because for me it's obvious that special OMM for stable coins would work better than
yeah, and probably also
common,
generate some more fees.
general.
Yeah, it will also generate more fees if it's another protocol. So the people actually providing USDC, USDT, they could better do it on a balancer or Uniswap. And I think for Mooniswap is really
it's about curve.
Or curve, yeah.
It's more about curves, because they are more optimized to for stable pairs, and they could offer much better prices, because they are assuming this is a stable tokens of the same asset like USD.
Yeah. So
I mean, our generalized AMM can't compete with the curve on this exact pairs with using a generalized formula, because they use specific formulas for stable tokens for sure.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Here's the EFI pool. Yeah, okay. And like if the earnings, they will go up. So it's basically a little bit similar how Balancer is doing it as well. As far as I know, Balancer also gives like a 2x Bell reward if you have, for example, the ETH Balancer Bell token reward pool. You get a little bit more reward, I believe. And that's also what you will be implementing, basically pools that would be more efficient for the user. So you're protecting the user there a little bit, I believe, right? So it's like you can better go away from Mooniswap and go to Curve with a stable pool. But if you have a wrapped Bitcoin ETH pool, you can also see the fees are really high actually here for the liquidity provided. So this is more profit for the LPs. So it's better to go here with a bit more volatile pool than with a stable pool, right? And when is the update coming? Any announcements you want to make, or anything you can say on that already, or?
I have to say that we're gonna change formula a bit and change proportions for different pools, because right now they are all equal, but it should not be like so, because this ended up to huge USDC USDT pool, and it makes no sense. This pool can't compete with Curve, because like on significant amounts, it works better than Curve on hundreds of bucks, but on significant amounts, it can't win for sure, because it uses generalized formula instead of specific to
Yeah.
stable tokens. Yeah.
There was some criticism in the community, yeah, a little bit. What I saw, like because of the distribution of tokens, there was only 2% for early liquidity providers. Will that be increased as well, or will these ratios stay the same? Or
We're not gonna increase early liquidity mining share, because it makes no sense. It makes more sense to have like farming when token will be released. It will be separate person for sure. It will be separate tokens for this, because it will be explicit. You will see how much you earn, and you will be able to measure it. Right now, it's hard to measure. You have to estimate capitalization, to estimate these two persons, to estimate how much it would work, and when token will be released, everything like this. It's hard to estimate. A lot of people were not happy about this for sure. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna release a formal update, and once we will release token, we will have explicit farming for it. You will be able to see how much you earn each second. You know, we're gonna release
yes,
use similar smart contract as synthetics used initially in December of previous year, when I developed a reward smart contract for them. And
nice.
yeah, this smart contract is used for a lot of different projects right now. Yeah.
And more importantly, I'm super excited on like the actual, like, because now the utilization was a little bit, of course, it's very hard because it's like bleeding edge. Like, how are you going to use the token? What's the exact monetization, uh, ideas? But I think the token will be released, and there will be some ideas that will be basically for the, for the protocol and for the community to decide on how to best monetize it, I believe, right?
Yeah, let me answer this. When we wrote initial article about 1-inch token, we got a lot of criticism, but we like reiterated on it, worked with it to better understand what we should change. And we also saw that a lot of people do not understand what is utility token. And a lot of people in Twitter, they were like thinking that token is, if something has token, this means this have governance, and this is governance token. And if some funds, venture funds, have like 10% of this token, they were not happy about this automatically, because it's not appropriate for governance to have such a huge pie of venture capitalists. But the thing is that 1-inch token was never about governance, because it's utility token, and a lot of new people in DeFi, they never heard of utility tokens. They don't know what this means. They think that token is for governance, but not. 1-inch token is not for governance. It's utility, but the thing is that we are not yet disclosed why, how exactly it would work, because it also includes not yet announced products of 1-inch. We're gonna have some products, and this token will have utility function in this new product. That's why we were not able to disclose it. We wrote it, but a lot of people misunderstood it. Yeah. So the thing is that token will be utility, and it will work as utility with some of our existing projects, and also with our new products, which are not yet announced. And
Too
yes,
bad.
we are not
I'm very excited to hear it.
we're not we're not gonna disclose what exactly we're gonna build, because we always like to exceed users' expectations. So we will release when we will be ready. Yeah.
Well, that's like a drum roll, and I think that brings a lot of excitement in the space. So I'm looking forward very much to what the 1H team is going to release with regards to the utility token. But there will be some sort of governance where you can vote, maybe, or there's no. It's purely a utility token, right? The 1H token, or is there any? There's no governance connected to it at all.
We were thinking of 1H token as a strong utility token, but it's like there is a chance that some of our protocols will have some internal governance for some stakeholders. For example, like if some liquidity providers have some stakes in some protocols, they will be able to influence on the options of this protocol. This is like local governance is possible.
What I don't understand of a lot of these like governance tokens, that they're not used for TCRs. Maybe I'm mistaken on that. Like a token created register, where, for example, with 1H or other protocols where you have a register, like Kleros is doing that as well, and then people have to stake the token to actually be part of the protocol. So that means, yeah, maybe something like that. But I'm not sure. I don't see it. I think mostly when people really start to implement TCRs correctly, we have this new DeFi primitive that still needs to be implemented correctly, I think. What do you think about that?
I'm talking about governance very careful always, because governance is very complex thing. If you would try to build some naive approach to have governance, you will fail, because of there are a lot of different gamings on governance, and you have to care of all of them. I can name you few ones just from my mind. I did recently tweet threads about it and got some interesting response. For example, like Curve handled some of these issues pretty well, but it's like, if you're building some governance, you have to care about all these things. For example, if you would allow people to vote for something, and you think that if someone have tokens, then it have skin in the game, and no one will vote with huge amount of tokens for bad proposals. It's not actually true, because someone could borrow this token for DAI. You could like put 10 millions of DAI into Compound or Aave, borrow this token. You will, for example, owe 1 million of these tokens to this protocol, and you can vote for anything, because it makes no sense for you. Is it a good or bad proposal? Because you have 1 million of tokens, you're voting with them, and you owe 1 million of tokens to the protocol. You do not have these tokens in your position. You are not holding it. You are not holder. You can vote on bad proposals. It's not your fault if the price will fall. You will just return this 1 million you owe, and it makes no sense for you how much it would cost. Is it cost $1 per token or 1 cent per token? And another one, if there is like some proposal and some people voted and it's not really good for everyone, and it received a lot of against votes, more than votes for, and a lot against votes are winning, and okay, I'm not gonna vote because there is like 20% difference and against are winning and I'm against, but I don't want to spend some gas to vote. Not everyone will vote, and at the very last second someone will vote with a huge stake for, and this proposal will be approved, like voted for. This means that when someone vote and a position of the proposal changed from for to against or opposite, this means that this proposal voting should be prolonged, because things changed very fast and people were not able to respond. to this attack, you know. And there are like a lot of different attacks on governances, and if you're building new governance, you have to take care of everything like this. And that's why I'm like so careful talking and thinking about governances.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
See, yeah, we will see a lot of governance hacks in next few years, and I hope we will see some new startups, new projects which are like focused on building good governances and like governance as a service to allow other projects to use these governances. We have some of them right now, but I believe we will see more.
That's a very good point. If the governance as a service, you can just basically plug in your token, and then your token will become a governance token. Anyway, if that service will be existing. But I think
right now there are some projects like this. So they exist, like Aragon. I heard. I'm not really diving deep into it, but I heard it works like this. But I'm not sure they handle all the possible attacks carefully. I'm not sure about this.
No, the attack surface is huge. So indeed, I believe it is quite hard, and it's still evolving business, similar to utility token. It will basically keep evolving over time, and it will serve as liquidity for the new projects that the 1inch is building, and the new features that it will create for itself. So that is super interesting. I'm looking very much forward to these new products, because I think 1inch at the moment is really pioneering a lot of the DeFi space, and also I really like what you're doing with all the security audits, and a lot of times you're the first one that spots some of these leaks. So thank you very much for that. That's like a hero in the space. Else there would have been some hacks that would have happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were really very curious what happened behind some hacks, but we were like few hours went and no one yet published a description of what happened. So we should.
Yeah, and it's good. It's an evolving space, and everybody needs to keep each other sharp, right? The similar thing which you did with Mooniswap and Uniswap, it's improving the overall space, and I think that's that's a very important important thing. So yeah, I'm looking very much forward to everything that you're building. We're talking already for a long time. I also wanted to go in NFTs or insurance, but we can do that in a next interview. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody about Mooniswap or 1inch that people need to know and understand?
Yeah, we're working currently of new version of 1inch. We shipped a new version of Pathfinder and gonna update our new interface, because current interface was developed by two programmers, me and Sergey initially, and was like changed a bit during the time. But yeah, we have new interface which was developed by a professional designer for sure. We're gonna ship it, and we're working also on Mooniswap improvement. We think we can deliver some cool updates really soon.
Nice. And how people can obviously help you by testing it, giving feedback. So if you have the beta version, or if you have anything that people want to test, I would really love to ask you if you want to share that with me. I would love to test it out. I would love to share it with everybody in the community. And please let us know how we can help you as well, because you're doing so much. So if there's anything that we can do to also assist you in your work, you can just reach out. And of course on Twitter you're very active. Is there another location where people can where can people reach you if they want to connect with you and learn more about everything that you're building?
We're afraid a bit to share some beta stuff, because we see crazy time when people put a lot of money into new projects which were not yet properly audited. Yeah, we're really afraid of this, so we do not ship things until we have several security audits. like we have new version of smart contracts. We are like ready to move to new version, but we are gonna have 4 security audits until we will not use it behind our main smart contract. We use it like behind main smart contract, and we're gonna use it directly really soon when we get all the necessary audits for sure. And yeah, regarding new functionality, we're also, I'm not sure we're gonna ship beta versions which are not yet audited properly.
Of course not. I completely understand. That is that's a very crazy thing that happened indeed. Yeah, as a software, in software it's normal to release a beta version, but if we do that in crypto, we get some issues with people destroying money at it, millions, and it's insane. But that's that's fortunately or unfortunately the market we live at. So yeah, I'm looking very much forward then to the final release, and yeah, I can't wait. And is there any date that you can name, or any maybe milestone or deadline that we can assume that will be ready? Or
yeah, we hope to have new version of our user interface in 1 maximum 2 weeks.
Perfect.
And hope we will be able to ship some updates to Mooniswap this month.
Amazing, man. So yeah, that we're looking very much forward. I will drop all the links below, and when the new version comes out, of course, I will also update it in the descriptions. And yeah, man, good luck with everything. And if people want to reach out to you, I will also put your Twitter, your GitHub in the description. Is there any other locations where people can reach out to you?
They can reach out to me via Telegram, email for sure. Yeah. Twitter is a good place to start.
Perfect. I will put everything in the description, and yeah, we'll take it from there, man. Yeah, Anton, thank you very much. It was quite a long but very interesting interview, and yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and also thank you, Anton, once again, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, man.